my god, you can stack bowls.
Ah.
To the right. To the left. To the bathroom.
No.
How you going? And welcome to our show, A Button. Today starring Tess, Connor, and Which Beam's video game, Unpacking.
This is the third episode in our Unpacking series.
Where in the game we unpack our sentimental stuff and in the commentary explore ideas of home and the anxieties around it. So get snug, real bevy, and here we go.
Yeah, so.
That's your Oodie on every door.
No. My hoodie has polar bears on it.
Which one? You've got.
Why are you putting pads there? They're gonna get wet.
Look, let's be honest. Did you expect that I would know where they live?
No.
Are you really disappointed?
Okay, once you've unpacked the boxes, we're switching seats.
Absolutely. Because I don't know what that is.
That's a bin. It goes next to the toilet.
So, we're introverts.
Mm.
I think.
I think so.
We're doing this.
We're introverts.
We're
with
doing
the
this
world.
instead of being out drinking or socializing or playing sports.
Yeah, we recorded the last episode on a Friday, and our extrovert flatmate was like, "Do you guys want to come out drinking?" We were like, "Okay."
And we did for all of about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we swiftly came home. So while I figure out how to hang this fry pan in the bathroom, there is a dear friend of mine since preschool, and he went very far away from home to uni. And I checked in with him to be like, hey, what was it like?
Yeah.
And as an introvert and as, well, someone I admire deeply, he had a few things that were really cool to listen to, and I'd like to get your personal take on them in terms of, do you resonate with it? Is it new?
To hear.
First thing, takes about 2 years to feel like you belong in a place properly.
Ugh. Oh, you want my opinion on that?
Yeah, your experience with you. 2 years to be able to call a place home.
That goes in the bathroom, that little purple cup. That's the toothpaste cup, I'm sure. Okay. 2 years. Well, honestly, I want to say yes, because I've left places and then come back, and they felt very different.
Really?
Yes, so I used to live in Auckland when I was from like 3 to 7,
Huh.
and
My god, you can stack bowls.
I didn't know we could do that. Do it again.
To the right. To the left. And slide. To the bathroom.
No. Please, don't be difficult.
We're gonna wash them anyways. Carry on.
Yes.
Carry on.
Okay.
You saying?
So I lived in Auckland. This hurts. I can't think of anything while you're doing this. And then we moved to a small town. And then I thought, because I'd lived in Auckland for a few years, like over a decade ago.
Oh, it won't let me.
That's what I felt like I needed when I moved
We're in
back
the
to
city.
Auckland. Yeah, that's what I felt like I needed, because I was so ill-equipped to move back. Because I lived in the suburbs when I lived there as a kid. I was living in like city central.
Can I just say city central?
City central.
Can I just say, even though a knife is more dangerous, I think with how I was warned as a child, the wooden spoon would instill more fear in my heart.
You were wooden spooned?
We were threatened with the wooden spoon, but it was all an illusion.
Right.
So, and then that for when shit actually hits the fan.
Yeah. So, yeah, I never felt back at home in Auckland because I spent less than a year there. And then I moved back to home to study online remote, which was great for me. I don't know how people feel. I think you found a study on remote work and how that affects people.
Well, there were two that crossed my mind. There's this concept that was studied a little bit of,
Fucking can opener.
look, no one can find the can opener anyways, so I think the weirder spot you put it, the more successfully you'll find it. So think about
Did you say can opener?
can opera. Think about this. If I go, honey, where's the can opener? And you go, it's in the second drawer, right? Over in the kitchen. Hear me out. That's going to be filled with shit. We're never going to find it. But if I go, honey, where's the can opener? And you go, oh, it's by the furry painting across next to the little bus by the knife. Never gonna lose it. Ever. And that's why you love me.
Yeah, for sure.
I went to a uni where, being in the northern-ish part of Australia, most of the people I studied with were either Brisbaneites or second-gen immigrants or from somewhere in the Asiatic region studying. Their parents would be paying for them to come study, and their parents and family would be in China or Vietnam, and that was really cool for me. But moving for uni, it's normal for us. That's what you do. You go, you pick your city. You pick your city. Lord knows what that is, which is why
That's
it
a
needs to
peeler.
go.
That's a potato peeler.
Get
it out of.
But it's pretty normal, especially you're from a small town, about 20,000 people, and I'm from Coffs Harbour, 90,000 people. A kind of uni, but it's not that well reputed. Changing, but not that much on offer. You got to go somewhere to go study.
Recap, we discussed how to feel at home when away, social life at uni, and adapting to new environments. If you're like us, here's some recommends. A Better Ideas video deepens your understanding of why we get distracted or space out. Feng Shui is the useful art of cultivating spaces that helps you feel comfortable. And the super recent journal article delves into first year uni and what you're in for. Now, ask yourself, how can I change my space to help my heart and mind? Links below. Let's get back to it.
You got to go somewhere to go study. And especially with kind of the global thing happening, this study looked into people who move for university and the different ways in which it affects you, depending on what age you are. And it found that naturally, the sooner, the later towards university you move, the more impact that's going to have on your academic result. You move before 6, doesn't really matter. You move right before uni, matters a lot. You might drop a grade kind of thing. But it also brought into account family support. We had more family support. That made a difference. Not everyone's got that. It also brought into account your
Do you think that's really long toilet paper?
Or
are you not?
Paper towel.
Yeah.
I see. I like how you coach me and let me discover for myself so I can put it in the right spot. It also took into account resilience. And I wouldn't call myself the most resilient person during university times.
Oh, I disagree. You're going through a lot.
Thank you. So I had a situation where it might be a bummer that it would be relatable, but I couldn't really afford to stay. I had to buy my way in. So financial anxiety, even though you're studying, and your studies don't really tell you much about finance because you're too busy studying the thing. But ultimately what didn't keep me there, and I hope one day will, is that I couldn't afford to be there, really, on my own back. And I don't know, I just wonder if that's not just me. And maybe if you felt, in fact, you express a little bit, you've had a big win with your uni finances.
Yeah, I realized I was paying double for something recently, so I get like almost $2,000 back, which is really exciting for me. And I didn't know how student loans worked, more importantly, so read up on it. But yeah, so going back to your point about Eli, and you don't feel home until you live somewhere for 2 years.
Eli had some great sharings, one of which was he immediately got to work, it seems, as I expect he would, getting involved with a community, a rowing community. He met his girlfriend who's now his fiance. You know,
Aww.
Not everyone does that. And I had an experience too where I was a little bit brave, a little bit just excited, like I said. I was euphorically excited that I could just read a book about how to make friends and give it a crack the next day. No one's gonna be like, why are you acting weird? So I literally went to a restaurant and was like, I'm going to make a friend today. And guess what? A guy who served me at Betty's Burgers became my best friend. And it was an attitude thing, absolutely. I was like, do you want to be mates? And he was like, hell yeah. He invited me to Latin dancing, rest is history.
Aww.
You know, not everyone's got that I wouldn't call it bravery, but
Oh, that's very much bravery.
maybe that's too much credit. But you know, it's.
Not at all.
I've also lived in chapters where I'm terrified, and I've lived in a place 7 months and never put myself out there. And of course, I feel lonely,
Yeah,
and I don't find home.
I felt very lonely in Auckland because I was too afraid to follow through on a couple ideas I had. Like, I really wanted to join D&D when I lived in Auckland, and there was a group.
That would have been amazing in the city.
Yeah.
There's so much choice.
Yeah, and I sent an email to the place because I saw it at like a club's day, and then they never got back to me. I'm like, well, they clearly don't want me.
Oh.
I know, because I'm just so scared.
And the self-critic, it's huge.
Yeah.
Especially when you're all by yourself and.
Yeah, so if I could go back and do it again and just go along and be like, hey guys, saw your thing, you need a girl to join because I imagine they were all guys.
They would have loved that.
Yeah, right?
Maybe nervously so. I remember going to Latin dancing for the first time, and that's so opposite to what I ever would have done as a kid. I was not in a place where I'd express myself, especially physically, with that traumatic experience being enrolled in jazz ballet as a 13-year-old instead of hip hop because I watched Step Up. To go to Latin dancing, that was huge, but I could do that with whatever confidence being in the city and being anonymous kind of gives you. And that was great. I don't know. There's a lot I loved about being away. As someone, I guess, who was trying to escape a feeling of imprisonment. But were you escaping much in a way? When you went and chose, because remember, we choose our unis. I chose Brisbane to escape and go to a city where no family was, and you chose Auckland because?
I chose Auckland because, like I said before, I was just eager to be a version of myself that I wasn't. But also, my family life was quite tricky. Like, we all have our disagreements. I think mine was probably a bit heavier than some others in some ways. Just because, you know, troublesome family members stir up a lot of trauma and it's hard to get away from that. And I just wanted to be as far as I could from this person.
Yeah.
And I think that's understandable.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Must have been really tricky.
It was. And even my mum, who I, like, at the time didn't want to tell her that I was also trying to leave her too, because I felt like she was holding me back. She was like, are you sure you want to go to Auckland? Like, it's a big change. And I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely sure of it. And I went and I learned a lot. And then she was absolutely right in the end. Like, I shouldn't have chosen Auckland, but it's what I thought I needed at the time.
Yeah.
So I don't regret my choices. But gosh darn. I wrote about it earlier in prep for this episode, but just all the things I learned sort of taught me the lesson that no, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but it sure as hell is softer. In that,
I like that.
yeah, I like that
a lot.
too.
Yeah.
I was quite proud of it, but just in that, it's your family will sometimes be your biggest critics, whether or not they want to be. Like, it sometimes is in, you know, best interest. They're just looking out for you, but they will be harsh because they want you to be the best version of yourself, but you don't even know what the best version of yourself is, and they don't either.
No.
So you have to figure it out. on
That's
your own.
phenomenal. I really like that, Tess.
Thank you.
We've talked a lot, so let's recover. Trouble focusing in states of flux, fears when making friends, and anonymity in new places are what we've touched on. Some supportive materials include a book summary of Indistractable to grant you a new toolbox, quick 2 steps to conquering conversational awkwardness, and Unpacking, a perfect way to carve debrief time in your day as you go about carving a new you. And since we're all changing, what's the one thing you encounter every day that if it was easy or fun, life would be better?
There's this book I remember reading, and I was passionate about it at the time at uni. And I remember telling my dad about it. And he wasn't that jazzed about the ideas, I guess.
What were the ideas?
It was a book on conflict mediation and speaking in a communication and a language of love. It was nonviolent communication. So, I guess there's a fear of your kids changing from what you were okay with them being. And that was a stinging moment when I shared something, all these books I was passionate about, and got met with, some advice from maybe a good meaning behind it. But I guess the point is there was a story in it in which these mediation techniques developed by someone I admire for being a conflict mediator, a skill that I direly am weak and wish to become strong at.
Say that again? That you are...
Would like to become stronger at being a mediator of conflict.
Okay. Sorry. I'm biased, but I think you're great at it.
Oh, thanks. Not how I thought that was going to go. I was really nervous. But he had this story when one of his people that attended his workshops in the States was a receptionist like you at a hotel. Mm-hmm. And late at night, someone drunk and belligerent barged in and took her by knife point, saying, "No one respects me, I'm getting a room." There were no rooms available. "I'm sorry, sir, I can't. I would give you one if I had one, but I don't. No one bloody respects me. No one bloody respects me. My parents don't respect me and you don't respect me. I'm getting a room or else." And she was able to use these techniques to connect with the feelings behind his words. And in the end, she didn't get hurt. He went away, he diffused. Could have been a lot worse. She goes to Marshall Rosenberg, the instructor, and he, in his chip away, laughs and goes, "You ought to be teaching the lectures. What advice would you want from me?" And she goes, "Yes, it worked in a life and death situation with someone new, but now I need the hardest challenge of all help with." And he goes, "What's that?" "And you've just touched on it, and I've touched on it." She goes, "Yeah, I was on a call with my mum." And he's like, the hardest people to change for are our family members usually, people that are closest to us or have a vested interest in the way we think and feel in the world.
That's so funny.
It's a great story, and you flared it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just look at this room. I hate what you've done with it.
Take one. Sorry. I've got sillies.
A Better Ideas video deepens understanding. What? You know when you haven't looked at the sentence and then it keeps going.
I can't stop laughing. I would take one. I feel like I can't stop laughing. So I haven't done anything yet.
What?
Because I kept giggling. I kept going. Okay.
This is the third episode.
This is the third episode.